that is all because I'm an elk hunter. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't have elk hunting in their life. They don't understand how lucky we are to have this thing that we can train for, and we can literally do something every day in the off season to make ourselves a better elk hunter, which will also make us a better father, a better Christian, a better husband, a better brother, sister, a better employer or employee because of elk hunting.
You are listening to the Run the Rack Outdoors podcast, where we take an all-in, leave no doubt approach to all things adventure hunting. From the big woods to the high country. How about that? Let's learn together as we discuss with our expert guests on what it takes to be successful in the backcountry. I'm your host, Weston Homa. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of the Run the Rack Outdoors podcast. This week, I got on very special guest, Dan Staton. You all know him as Elkshape. And man, it was just so cool to get Dan on for a little over an hour, pick his brain. Been following Dan for a long time. Super motivating guy, gets after it. I mean, I'm sure if you're in the hunting space following any sort of content, you've seen Dan's stuff. So just an awesome guy. I think, you know, Dan is a great role model in the industry, gets so many people motivated to get up and get better every single day. I wanted to get Dan on too because it's the end of the year. Everybody's getting, you know, their plans for next year, all these things they want to do, set goals, and that's great. But I wanted to pick Dan's brain on because he's a very goal-oriented guy, very driven, very focused, and wanted to talk about that, setting goals, getting, you know, maybe some motivational things out of Dan. And I think it was a really great episode. So he really opens up. I think it was a really good conversation. And I just love following Dan's stuff. Fires me up. Dan's big on the faith, family, fitness, and career. That's something that he preaches on the Elkshape podcast. So definitely go check out all his stuff if you haven't yet. And it was cool too because I reached out to Dan. He got back to me. But it was all kind of stemming from, so this was about like 4 years ago. So I remember at the time listening to the Elkshape podcast, Dan used to bring guys on that kind of needed some help with training, nutrition, getting ready for elk season. Basically, Dan would just give them some life advice too. And at the time, I remember listening. I just remember thinking like, and if you're listening for the first time and you don't know me, I actually am from Pennsylvania, started hunting the West about 5 years ago. And I think I always knew deep down that after that first trip, hearing that first elk bugle, that I wanted to move out here. I just love it so much. And I finally did. So I moved to Idaho this year. But I just remember at that time, I wanted to be in better shape. I wanted to, you know, hunt the West more. I wanted more time to hunt. I wanted to be more disciplined and whatever. So I just wrote Dan an email, and it's a little cringe to look back here in hindsight, but we talk about it on the podcast. And Dan just gave me some really good, straightforward advice. And it was fun kind of looking back at that about 4 years ago when I wrote that. And then I just kind of catch Dan up to speed on everything I got going on now. So it was really cool. It was really cool to kind of like rekindle that. So Dan's a great guy. Really appreciate his time. I think you guys are going to really like this episode. Other things going on for me, just getting really fired up for next hunting season. Even these conversations here, like with Dan, just so excited. This will be my first full year in Idaho. So I'm just going to spend so much time in the summer scouting, just living out of my bivy tent all summer. And I'm just super excited. I'm getting all my vacation lined up for next year, thinking about all the hunts I want to do. And then, like I said, if you guys haven't followed me before, you cue this up, listening to Dan. Really love running these races. So running a 50K here outside of Boise in January. And then I'm running the Boston Marathon with a race that I qualified for last year. 6 days later, I'm going to run the Eugene Marathon. So we're going to do back-to-back marathons. And I really want to break 240, which is going to be close to like a 6-minute mile. And just training hard for those things. I mean, I'm already running 70, 75 miles is this week. And just doing the thing. And I had somebody reach out to me recently to see if I want to do a podcast on just kind of like my day-to-day, my training, nutrition, how I'm recovering, all these things. And maybe I'll do that. But I am just a regular guy. I have a 9 to 5. It's really an 8 to 5. Work in an office, and I get up at 4:30 every day. I usually do strength training in the morning. For me, that looks like a couple of days a week. It's hypertrophy, so just the basic 5 sets of 5, 4 sets of 8 in the gym, compound movements, things like that. A couple days a week too. I've been going to this CrossFit gym. Just really like the community there, but I think that's something different, some explosive movements. And then I usually run after work. So I'm running about, 70, 75 miles a week. That's 10 miles a day. Usually what I do is like a longer run on Saturday and then pull it back a little on Sundays. Maybe I'll do an episode on a further deep dive, but that's what I got going on. And then I will pick up a 100-miler. So Oregon Cascades 100-miler. It's in Bend, Oregon, and I've never even been over there, but I've heard Bend's an awesome spot for trail running and things like that. So I signed up for that race. That's the end of July. But I also put in for the Leadville lottery, and I should find that out here in the next couple of weeks if I get that. So I probably won't do both. But I have that Cascades race as a backup. And because Leadville is in August. So we'll see if I get Leadville. But either way, 100-miler on the docket later this summer. And just training hard, getting ready for next hunting season. Absolutely love it. Also, too, a little longer intro in this one, but 75 hard. I've done it the last few years. If you're listening to this, I think it'd be really fun if you're interested in doing it. And I won't keep rambling here, but go check out. You can just Google what 75 hard is. If you guys want to do it, I'm going to do it. Start of the new year. So January 1st, we're going to start, go to mid-March. And I think it'd be really fun if people want to do it and then just kind of keep in touch throughout because, yeah, I've done it the last couple years. There's, you get through it day to day, but there's definitely some days that are harder than others. And just having some little bit of community to do it, I think can definitely help. So if you want to do 75 hard, I think I'm going to run it back again. Reach out if you want to do it, and we will help keep each other accountable. Other than that, I'll leave it there. This is way too long of an intro, but everybody have a Merry Christmas. Spend time with the family. Enjoy it. And that's it. Let's leave no doubt. Let's work as hard as we can, and let's run the rack. All right, everybody. Thanks. See ya. Go Hunt has a single purpose. Make it easier for hunters to get into the field. Hunting tags are only getting harder to obtain, and Go Hunt is a research platform helping navigate the ins and outs of drawing tags and researching hunts across the West. I've had a Go Hunt membership for years now, and I'm a big fan of the articles written on there by Brady and Trail. The content is next level stuff that has helped me a ton. From animal behavior to archery, they are sharing all the nuggets. I also love the hunt films on YouTube. They are extremely inspirational, and they'll make you want to get out in the mountains ASAP. Check out the Go Hunt Gear Shop, where they have everything you need for this coming hunting season. Use the code RACK, that's R-A-C-K, for 10% off eligible items in the shop. And you can use the code RACK for $50 in-shop credit when you join as an insider. So sign up for a membership and immediately get $50 back toward hunting gear. Check it out. You won't regret it. Dan Staton, a.k.a. Elkshape, a.k.a. Dan the Fitness Man. So all the things. How's it going, man? I'm stoked to get you on.
Thanks for the invitation. I appreciate it. It's been tough to get our schedules to line up, but everything's going good. Everything's pretty busy per usual. At the time of the recording, it's Friday. It's 3:00. And I feel like I could stay in the studio another 16 hours. I have so much to do, and that's just how I feel every day. I'm just like, did I do enough today, man? But it's a grind. What I do is probably looks pretty cool from the outside, but behind the scenes, man, I get here between 5 and 6 a.m. and I don't leave here till 5 or 6 p.m. And it's because I'll get in trouble if I don't get home any sooner. Self-employed's awesome, but my boss is a real freaking he's a slave driver. And it's all good. I can't complain. And 2025 was a great year, and I'm hoping that 2026 will be better.
Awesome, dude. No, love to hear that. Love to hear the grind. I'm sure, I have this podcast here. I'm making my own content. I still have my day job. I'm sure, everybody looks from the outside in and thinks like, must be nice to, make your content and do all the things you do. But I'm sure it's a grind, dude. It's like anything.
No, I literally just shoot my bow and work out all day.
Right. Isn't that all you do, bro? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like I said, I'm stoked to get you on, Dan. You are one of the guys that I've watched over the years. That's got me really fired up, really inspired me. So if people are listening to this podcast platform for the first time because maybe they saw Dan hop on, just real quick about my story. So I started this only about 6 or 7 months ago. This podcast, originally from Pennsylvania. I grew up hunting, all the things. Started going out west to elk hunt about 4 or 5 years ago. Fell in love with it. Really just felt like, this is what I'm not trying to sound corny. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is what I feel. I feel most alive out here. So it's interesting too, because around that time too, I got the taste of that. But I was in, like, not to get too into it, bro, but like, yeah, a little bit of a low spot in my life. Just like being in my earlier 20s, just trying to figure out like what the hell to do. Not in a good spot. I think I was working a job, working way too much, and I just wanted more time to hunt. And the quick story here, that I think it's worth sharing. So Dan, I've been listening to the Elkshape podcast for a while. I think I remember during that time too, like, yeah, you'd bring on some just some regular guys looking for advice as far as fitness and nutrition and getting ready for elk season, stuff like that. And I think I remember listening to an episode you talked with a guy from Iowa, and you're just giving him like really good advice. And at this time, I was not in the best shape. Just wanted to make just a bunch of changes in my life. So I was like, I'm going to send this Elkshape guy an email, like, just because I don't know, dude. I feel like you communicate really well, and I just at that time I was like, I would just want to communicate with somebody that maybe could just give me something. So I drafted up an email, turned into like a little bit of event sesh, and it's very cringe looking back in hindsight. So I sent that to Dan. Dan gave me a response back, which I very much appreciated, and it was short and sweet, basically
I bet it
saying
was like
like,
3 sentences. And by the way, for anyone who ever reaches out, will not write you a novel back, but I will respond.
and I, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't blame you at all. And it was, but it was, dude. I mean, at the end of the day, I wasn't taking action with my life. I knew what I needed to do, and even you said in the email back, like, this isn't what you want. Make the change. So after that, I did. At that point in my life, I started to get a lot more disciplined. A little bit more about that, like that's when I started taking up running, fitness more seriously, hunting, all the things. Fast forward now, I'm running the Boston Marathon in spring. In the spring, I'm running these ultras, having more success in the West. Really just started, at the end of the day, taking more action on the shit I wanted to do and stop, feeling a little bit sorry for myself. So here we are about, 4 years later. Yeah, dude, I'm running these races. I'm really like, I feel like I'm turning into an athlete at some of these races I show up at. Running Boston has been a dream of mine. So I qualified, and I'm going there. I literally moved from Pennsylvania. That's where I was from and where I was at when I sent you that email. And I packed up and moved to Idaho, because throughout those years of going out to elk hunt, I'd drive all the way back and be like, man, it'd be so cool to live out there. And I just didn't want to live my life like that anymore, dude. Like, you just kind of get sick of your own shit. So long story short, I did all my hunting in September this year. Went to Colorado, hunted high country mule deer, chased elk here in Idaho, moved back. I had my notice in with the job there, and then moved out here. I had a job lined up. I interviewed all online, working for the local power company, got an apartment, and have just been here I'm down in Boise, and just been loving it, dude. I just feel like I'm doing the thing. Launched this podcast too. So I'm talking way too much about myself, but point is, Dan, I appreciated that response. And I also appreciated you just like doing everything you do with your content and lighting the fire and just being an inspirational guy. So wanted to tell that story before we really got rolling.
Yeah. I'm glad you shared that. I probably take it for granted, honestly, on some days, if anyone's actually listening to what we're saying or preaching. It's cool to hear. Where in Boise do you live?
So I'm 10 minutes from downtown, because I work downtown, in an office. So it's a good gig. I can't complain. They treat me well. And it's been good, man.
I lived in Meridian in 2000. Oh my gosh, 2006 and 7. I lived in Meridian, Idaho. Um, that was a long time ago because right now I've been back to Boise and it does not look the same. It's just blown up. I managed a gym there, and unfortunately, I never switched I was a Washington resident, and I never switched over to Idaho residency when I should have then, and I didn't.
Well, dude, you got to get
Um,
the lifetime thing, right? Did you get that?
I have since
Okay,
because I live in
good.
Idaho now, but at the time I
Oh,
didn't, and
that's
so for
right.
years I was struggling to um, get an elk tag. Uh, couldn't just go to the gas station anymore. I had to like go to the gas station on December 1st at 4 a.m. and wait in line with a bunch of other guys and just be stressed out if I could get a tag that I wanted or whatever. Now it's a draw, which is cool. I really hope that a lot of people enter that draw because Idaho will make a lot of money, and I want them to have a lot of money to hopefully manage the resource. Hopefully they don't squander. But it's a new draw system. I think it's more fair. Even being a Washington guy and driving over across the border to buy a tag, I was cutting in line of everybody who's like in Pennsylvania online and they're like number 50,000 and their computer crashes or just a bunch of horror stories. And you couldn't line up with your buddies to hunt. It was like a lone shark just try to get tags, and there was a lot of demand for those tags, and so I think the draw will be good. It'll be at least be fair-ish, and I hope Idaho makes a ton of money off of it. So that's my goal. I want them to have the funds to manage the resource. The resource is what I care about.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to what they're doing with the draw. You can put in now as a group and actually have a chance. And then also too, what's nice is like, man, all these states kind of like, I don't know if they talk to each other or what, but they almost kind of like line it up to where you can't really like put in for one, wait for the results, and then put in for another one. Like if you're just, the regular guy, blue collar, 2 weeks off, you got one, you want to build all your points everywhere else and draw your one tag. All these other states, it kind of like overlaps. But with Idaho, it's like we're going to put in for the draw now, and then you'll find out in January. So it's like you'll kind of find out if you got it. I think they're doing another round, whatever. But you still can be like, okay, well, I can still play Colorado and Montana and
Mm-hmm.
all the other things. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, for years we would get our Arizona, Wyoming results immediately, which was super handy because
Yeah,
you could know
early.
if you struck out. And then Wyoming got greedy. I don't blame them, but they're like, we're going to hold on to everyone's money. And it's a significant sum when you have that many people applying. But they're going to hold on to the loot for 5 months. And now you don't find out Wyoming's results till typically mid-May. Before that, it used to be like before even Montana's draw came out, you would kind of be able to predict and things like that. But I'm not complaining. I know things are always going to change, and you have to adapt.
Exactly. It's whoever. I imagine it's just like business or anything else. Who's gonna adapt and keep playing the game? Or you could sit back on the couch and just be like, "Oh, things are just getting harder. Woe is me. Whatever." Well,
Yeah,
guys like
you can
Dan,
do that.
they're gonna figure it out. So it doesn't matter. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a moving target, guys, and I just don't be discouraged. Be encouraged. Try harder. Be creative. Think outside the box. And then, honestly, I think if you don't get an elk tag, you don't need to go on my favorite website, Rock Slide. They love me there, and complain about things. What you could do is be like, all right, Weston, you got a tag this year. Do you mind if I go with you? I'll be camp bitch. I will be your caller. I'll practice my calling so like I'm a good caller, and I'll help you pack out your elk, and I'll just learn about. Like, you don't miss a season. You'll continue to get better and evolve. I just think there's ways to get out in the woods and enjoy it. Yeah, definitely.
for sure, man. But just to circle back real quick, you mentioned, you did sometimes take for granted when you're making your content, people listening, whatever. I think it was, I can't remember if it was Barkalow or I had Aaron Snyder on too, but I literally told a story about something I heard them say on a podcast like years ago, and it kind of like saved my ass out there or something. And I told him like, yeah, I appreciate it. Like, I just wanted to reiterate that, like there are, there are dudes listening, and it does make a difference. So, again, just yeah, I appreciate all that stuff you put out, and yeah, it's
No
motivating,
problem, man.
motivating as hell. So,
Well,
yeah,
that's cool. I appreciate that. The guys that are hungry, are looking for any little nugget. And, to age myself, there was not a YouTube or a podcast invented. The internet was pretty fresh when I started elk hunting. Smartphones, I don't think had even come out yet. Um, and so I had to learn with whatever resources I had, which looking back, I picked the wrong resources. I would watch Primos VHS tapes, DVDs to try to pick up tactics. And I didn't realize at the time that those tactics were not going to work well like they did for those guys. They were hunting, pretty cool ranches in Montana and in Colorado. And of course, yeah, they were calling in giant herd bulls with the Terminator bugle tube and hoochie mamas. And I'm like, oh, that's what I need. And then I would buy that stuff and try that stuff, and I'd get really frustrated. And I'm not mad about it. I actually am so glad that I sucked at elk hunting in the beginning, because I've said it for years, but I know it changed who I am. It changed my life. It changed my path, my trajectory, because of the failure. Elk hunting drove me so hard, probably to the point now where I know I'm not that relatable in some ways, because I might appear to be maybe too much or over the top, but I just know the formula or the recipe that works for me. And it does not involve resting on your laurels, even if you've had success in the past. It's like, oh, 2026 slate gets wiped completely clean. I've never killed an elk in 2026. Have you killed an elk in 2026? I didn't think so. So we're on even playing ground. And if you're hunting Idaho and I'm hunting Idaho, I will probably try to create a narrative in my head that you are trying to outwork me. You're trying to shoot more arrows. You're trying to learn more about archery and tuning. You're learning more about elk behavior biology. You're learning more about e-scouting, and you're doing things, and I'm not going to let that happen. So I'm gonna compete against you. Not really, but I'm just gonna make stuff up in my head, so I jump out of bed and bust my ass every day.
Dude, that's what they said Michael Jordan would do all the time. He would just kind of make up enemies on the court and say I heard what you said to me or whatever, and the guy's like, I didn't say nothing, but it would just get him fired up. And I
Yeah,
try to tap into that. I mean, that's sometimes it's whatever it takes just to keep you going out there. And I'd say no, dude, you're just further down the path. I wouldn't say you're not. Yeah, I mean, what you're doing isn't what the experience of a first year elk hunter is going to be doing, but you've done the thing, dude. You've done it for a long time, and now you're at where you are now, and that's why you're as confident as you are. That's how I see it.
definitely try to earn confidence throughout the entire year, and just almost deposit it into an account that I need to withdraw in September. Whether it be mental toughness, um, a lot of it is family stuff too. Hunting's a pretty selfish pursuit, so I need to make sure that we tip the scales in the right way. And I do need to literally intentionally find out my children and my wife's what's their version of elk hunting. What are they really into? What gets them going, and support them in whatever capacity I can, so that they feel like we're all equally yoked.
For sure. And these are kind of the things I wanted to get into. I mean, obviously, we're going to go down some rabbit holes on hunting, and I'm always down to talk hunting and stuff. But Dan's got plenty of podcasts on, how to get on elk and things like that. So definitely go check that out. But I wanted to get you on too, because I think this might be a good episode for guys listening. It's the end of the year. People are talking about their New Year's resolutions. They want to get motivated and become more disciplined and set goals for the year. And I wanted to pick your brain, at least for next little bit here, on you've coached. I know you've coached guys in fitness and all these things. How do you go about setting goals for the year? Are you somebody that sets a New Year's resolution, things like that, plans for 2026?
I definitely look down the road for sure. I'll try to make some time in December to do some intentional, thought-provoking considerations of how 2025 went, what went well and what didn't, and what can I change, or how can I evolve. So yeah, I'll be still and think about some stuff and get some stuff in writing. whether it be, I mean, I think it's important to know like what is like your pillars in life, and like maybe start from the top, work your way down. Like my first, I always put on my media out there that my only goal is to kill an elk. And I will guarantee I'll post some stuff like that in 26. And I do that just to get people fired up. Like I just want them to get fired up to know like hey, it's like barbecue season. We're going to the lake, and they might see a clip of me like dying with the backpack on, doing a workout, and it's just like, look, I only got one goal. Is that really true? No. No. I'll probably start at the top with faith. Like, how can I get closer to the Creator? How can I be a better spiritual leader at home? Are we going to church enough? Are we going to the right church? Are we in a small group? Are we in the right group? Am I in a men's group? Do I have accountability? Am I getting into the scripture? Number two, family. What's our family life look like? What's the evenings look like on the Monday through Friday, which is most of your life? You know, when kids are out of school and I get home from work, that's really important time. What's that looking like? Am I on the couch staring at my phone? Am I downstairs playing with my kids? Am I engaging with them? Am I getting date nights with my wife? Like I'm going to judge myself. I got a scorecard to look at. Then I'll move on to fitness and like, okay, how did I do this elk season? What did I do well? Where did I excel? Where were some glaring weaknesses? And then how can I put those weaknesses kind of at the top of the list and tackle those head on and not just focus on strengths? Then I'll move down to archery, and I'll probably move down to career towards the end. Like I'll look at Elkshape's business and like what can we do better. A lot of guys will put business or making money at the top, and I used to be like that too. So like I'm not judging. I'm just saying like I'm 44. Money will always like I'll figure out a way to earn money. Like that's not really my focus ever. It's like the top down. I just explained, but I will look at business and look at what can I do better there, or how can I make better engaging content. How can I, just work with better companies, or how can I better serve the companies I work with, or how can I build more community? How can I create less division in the hunting space? Like, yeah, like if you're not reflecting in December, I don't know how you're going to come up with a game plan for 2026.
Would you say you were always like pretty driven kind of guy?
Yes. Like I would love to say that there was some moment in life, but it started when I got really bad in 7th grade when I learned about wrestling. I was like, okay, one of my best friends was like, I'm going to wrestle, you should too. And wrestling made me like become a psycho off the mat. I was like, Mom and Dad, I want a weight set. And for Christmas, I got a Costco weight set and I had it in my room in the basement. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I was going to lift weights and get stronger. That never changed. That's never gone away. Like I just from competitive sports, baseball, like I begged my dad to throw me soft toss, hit me grounders, play pitch, like teach me as much as he can about baseball. Same with football. Like, so sports, junior high, that's about the time where I realized that I had a drive, and I was competitive, and I wanted to work hard, and I was not the tallest guy. I was not the fastest guy. I was not the strongest, wasn't the smartest. And so if I had any chance for success, I had to just try to outwork people.
You've also, I know, like, yeah, coached a lot of guys in fitness and stuff too. You're pretty motivated. It sounds like you had that early on. But what would you say the key for guys, even like older guys, man, they're just trying to get in shape, trying to get ready for their first elk hunt, whatever. How do you get them guys motivated?
Yeah, so motivation, like such a cool word. Like, man, I'm feeling really motivated, or whatever that is, but it's a feeling. Did you hear that word? I said I'm feeling motivated. It's feelings come and go. I can be mad, I can be happy, I can be angry, I can be sad, I can be motivated, I can be not motivated. Those are feelings. Feelings are fleeting. We're all human. So it's going to boil down to like Jocko Willink stuff. Like it's going to boil down to discipline. You're going to make disciplined decisions based on what roadmap you create for yourself at the end of December. So if you create like a roadmap that has your goals that are specific, and these small goals that lead to the big goal. So there's going to be like little check-ins along the way. If you need to lose 100 pounds, You can write that down, but you got to have to break that down into what does that look like per month, per week, and then having checkpoints along the way and see if you're like, are you on pace? Are you not? Things like that. With motivation, it's just not enough. It's not enough to be motivated. Now, I will say caveat. If you are an elk hunter, so like Weston went elk hunting for his first time, you have an advantage. You experienced elk bugling, I hope. And when you heard that screeching, roaring lion beast thing in the mountains, and you said to yourself, I need to figure out how to do this the rest of my life. When you went home,
It's exactly what
like
happened.
you probably had a cup that was a little fuller of motivation, you know. So I think we as elk hunters, passionate elk hunters, for those that are, you have a huge advantage over everybody else because you have an event to train for. There's a purchase point there where you can leverage elk hunting to make year-round disciplined decisions. I haven't had a drop of alcohol in a couple years, and it wasn't like I'm an alcoholic and I can't, like, I can have a beer and chill and not need another one. And I actually love the taste of an IPA, an ice cold IPA. But for the last probably 3 years, I've looked at a beer and I've been like, is that going to help me get me closer to my goal? And more importantly, how am I going to feel tomorrow because I had a couple of IPAs and caught a little buzz? It just, so because of elk hunting, I'm not drinking, and I'm pretty secure in myself. I don't need to socially drink to feel like I fit in. Um, that is all because I'm an elk hunter. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't have elk hunting in their life. They don't understand how lucky we are to like have this thing that we can train for, and we can literally do something every day in the off season to make ourselves a better elk hunter, which will also make us a better father, a better Christian, a better husband, a better brother, sister, a better employer or employee, like, because of elk hunting. So I discovered that. And obviously I like doubled down on my messaging with that because it resonated with me. It might not resonate with everybody. That's cool. But for me, I was like, I'm not going to be a guy who's a digital creator and just make elk hunting stuff. I want to make stuff that makes people um, try to pursue excellence and be in this gift of life.
I was talking about this with Brian Barney on, he hopped on mine and I did his. I can't remember which one, but we were so fired up talking because literally what you're saying, bow hunting, backcountry hunting, whatever, has given a direction to where it's making all these other aspects of our lives better because we want to make sure that we can keep doing this awesome thing. Like when I'm at work and I just, I'm on Excel, like little computer bitch. Dude, my motivation sometimes is like, dude, I want to crush it here. I want to crush it here. So when I take, 2 weeks off in a row to go chase elk, it's no problem because I'm a linchpin here. You know what I mean? And like, hey,
Yeah.
Weston, yeah. So I'm serious, dude. Like that is on my mind in, now December when I'm at work, and I want it to be like my boss being like, dude, go ahead, no problem. Like had a heck of a year, go chase your elk, and like good luck. Don't even check your phone. So it's like helps with that aspect of your life. Obviously squared away with the family, which is more important. All those things. But you want to make sure, you've talked about this a million times, you're gone a lot in September and maybe even after that. Got to make sure everything's squared away at home. So you're not even you're trying to be better than the best dad you can be because you want to go do this thing selfishly. So it's like trying to maximize all these other aspects to this one thing, physical fitness too, obviously. And I just think it's a great thing, man. And I don't really, like when I see some of the stupid hate comments about don't have to train that hard to hunt or don't have to whatever for hunting, it's like, I think people just miss the whole point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't want to be the guy that's like put a flag in the ground, say if you're not a physical specimen, you can't get out killed. Like, I hope I've relayed that. I'm sure there's times where I've failed to mention that that's fine. but I've tried my best to try to convey a message of we're talking about training for all the elk seasons, not the one in front of us. We're talking about this elk. There's going to be a year, Lord willing, where I'm the oldest guy at elk camp, but the youngest guy is my grandson, and maybe he's your age. That would be sweet, and I'm still able to go teach him what I've learned, let him fail a little, and maybe have success, and maybe I'm like able to help pack out an elk when I'm in my 80s or 90s. I'm telling you, like, I'm talking about trajectory. I'm not talking about just the season in front of us. There's guys that kill elk all the time that are overweight, drink heavily, whatever. That's fine, man. I don't like the part about hunting that I don't like the most, as far as you, me, all of us who would listen to this pod, is the constant infighting, bickering, comparison, ego driven measurement. This is the, like, because you hunt the backcountry public land, you're cooler than me. I go to a Matthews sponsored elk hunt in Utah on a private ranch. So you're automatically better than me. Like, I don't care where you hunt, how you hunt, as long as it's legal and you're buying a hunting license and tag. I think that's great. I really do. I think it's cool. And I think we as hunters, um, I'm just never going to stop bringing this up. And it probably won't make a huge difference, but if I can start a little ripple effect of like, enough already. Like, we don't need to be at each other's throats. We are already outnumbered significantly, and we're already misunderstood. And it wasn't that long ago, like, it's 2025. So 1925, I don't think you got clowned on for being a hunter. I think a lot of people shot their own food. It was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, but that's what you do. You get protein from the grocery store over there in the meadow or in the mountains or whatever. So I didn't like it now. And then if we go forward another 100 years, like, do you think those numbers are going to grow? Are we going to be even like, no, not really, not with technology and urban sprawl and all this stuff. So for the time being, could we treat each other with a little respect and dignity? That's what I would like to see.
Has to be something too with like, I've never once in my life had the drive to literally see a post, hop in the comments, and say something negative. And then even more so now, it's like and I know you're the same way. Like you just love what you do. Love what you do. You're focused on what you do. You probably don't have time for all like to clap and say all this other stupid shit. So I don't know. When I see some of that, I'm just like, and this isn't me just saying this. I really think, well, clearly that guy is just not happy with what he's doing. Like, I don't know.
It's okay to not be happy with what you're doing. And dude, it's okay to feel like things aren't fair, outcomes aren't the same, because it's true. Like, there are a lot of people that probably work harder than both of us, and maybe they're not in as good a position. Like, it's never going to be fair. So we can't focus on that. We can only focus on what we can control. And sometimes you're just in a bad spot, man, where you're in debt or you're in between jobs, or the job you do have, man, is just no, like, real, like, you're burnt out. Like, there's no real satisfaction in what you do anymore. That's an okay feeling. You're a human being. You might even feel trapped because you might have took on some debt and you're a slave to it a little bit. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like, it's okay, but it's not okay to go out there and be vicious. Like, it's a reflection of where you are at. Yeah, you won't see me going on someone's page and typing up a negative comment ever. One, people like me don't have time. We are working really hard in our own lane and we have our own problems. I have a lot to work on myself. You know what I mean? Believe it or not, I'm not perfect. And I'm still going through growing pains, and God's got a plan for me. But I'm not going to go out there and spew venom, uh, because there's already enough of that. It's so easy to hate today. It's at your keyboard, but it's really hard to love these days. that's the challenge. That's where the real gangsters are at, is the ones that can be in positive when everyone's negative, and to shrug off hate, and to still shine a light in this world that can be dark sometimes. And you know, that to me is that's my calling. I gotta get better at that, and that's what I'm working on, man.
I love hearing you just talk about things you're working on. I think people appreciate hearing that. My mind went to, yeah, dude, who's going to be the guy who's getting his butt kicked all fall and then still chime in and like just be just as happy for everybody else? I think you got it. It's how you got to do it. But I don't know. I digress. Shifting.
Well, I get it, man.
Yeah.
Like I was on this elk season. I left my house August 27th with enough stuff in my truck to come home whenever my hunt was done. I didn't come home till I think October 2nd. It's a long time from family. I didn't pull my bow back till August 23rd. I'm sorry, till September 23rd, and I didn't miss a single day. Like all days, just stacked together, trying hard. And if I'd been on Instagram and seen, he got one, he got one, he got one. I could see how people are like not happy for other people, but a lot of stuff's got to go your way to get one on the ground. A lot, and I experienced that this year. Like I just had a bunch of close calls, but I just didn't get to send an arrow. And sometimes you need that little 2% luck. But I realized a long time ago that if I get home from elk season and I put forth an incredible, unmatched effort day in and day out and squandered 0 seconds, I can't really be mad at the outcome. I can only be, just encouraged to try harder next year or to change a couple ways I'm doing things. And it's such a long off season, Weston, where it's like, if you slept in, or if you talked yourself out of going after an elk because you didn't think there was enough daylight, or if you got over there, you're just adding another hour to an already 3-hour hike back to the truck. Like there's some demons out there that can talk you into making decisions that you're going to regret the rest of the off season. So I learned a long time ago to not do that and to just give her hell. And so I had a really successful season. I only punched I didn't even kill an Idaho bull this year. I don't remember the last time I didn't kill an Idaho bull. 8. You know what I mean? So like, and it wasn't for effort and attitude. It was there, man. I tried so hard. I'm not mad about it. Like I gave her hell. New Mexico, I drew a tag with my dad, and we haven't drawn a tag together since 2006. And neither one of us got a shot on an elk. I was only there for 5 days. We tried so hard and had such a good time that I don't even care about the result, man. Like, I just hunted with a 69-year-old guy who's been pivotal in my life and shared camp with my dad. That was such a successful hunt. Success is in the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean? So you got to set realistic expectations. And if you're in the beginning of the learning curve, give yourself some grace.
That's something that I'm working on. But that's actually a perfect segue too, because that's kind of what I want to shift into, because I was following along obviously with your journey this September. And I remember I was out hunting elk in Idaho. We had one little speck of cell service where we bivvied out for probably most of the trip up on this ridge. And one night scrolling Instagram or whatever, and I remember the post. It was, you've been out for all September. I think you shared that like September 20th, and you're just grinding. And dude, and I missed a bull. So I killed 2 mule deer bucks I was happy with, but did not punch my elk tag. I missed a bull. This was just a, OTC, whatever you want to call it, General Idaho tag. Never been there before, but I missed a bull. Just absolutely grinding, me and my buddy. And yeah, I struggle with giving myself some grace. I mean, I'm sure you share some similar self-critical traits, but when I saw that though, dude, that was very much appreciative, I'm sure, by a lot of people, because it was for me too. It's like, you almost feel like you're right there. Like, Dan's out here grinding too. Like, this shit is hard. So appreciated you sharing that for sure. Just wanted to throw that in there.
What's interesting about that post was I had my phone turned off for probably 3 weeks straight. And so I hadn't checked social media, nothing. I would turn my phone on when I made it back to the truck, when the Starlinks fired up, and FaceTime my family. which is, by the way, a super awesome life hack for being able to go hunting a long time, is like, for me personally, just seeing their faces and voices, it makes being gone a little bit easier, you know, because pre-Starlink days, my wife is so trusting of me, where like there would be like week or 2 weeks go by, I haven't even sent her a message. She doesn't even know if I'm alive. Very trusting wife. But that post I made while driving to Utah. So it was September 21st or 22nd, can't remember. And I did it probably at a gas station while I was pumping gas. And all I just was like, I'm just going to be really transparent and let everybody know that Mr. Elkshape here is getting his teeth kicked in and you're not alone. That was my intention. It was like, hey man, like this shit's hard. And that is my most viewed and engaged
Really?
social media piece of content on Instagram in 2025. Can you believe that?
That's insane, dude. And I did not know that. And I brought that up
Yeah.
organically, obviously. And
Yeah.
I mean, that is awesome, dude. I mean, so awesome to arrow bulls, lay down, big 6 points, whatever. But that right there, like, that's sweet. And in that moment, dude, that had me get up the next day and be like, we're in it. Let's go. Like, we're not alone. So that's awesome
That's
to hear
cool.
that. Yeah. And also, too, talking about, and that's trying to, me giving myself more grace, too, just focusing on just the controllables and emptying the tank. Now, you have to definitely be tied to the truth. Are you actually emptying the tank every day or not? If you're just out there running the clock out, that's almost the same as, quitting on the hunt. But I have found that I do feel a little bit better if I know I'm coming out of that hunt. Dude, when I came out, we were just running around up there. Like, I had to have lost like 6 pounds. I looked like shit. I couldn't even, I was so exhausted. But there's got to be something said for that too, because even I remember Kobe Bryant did a few podcasts before he died, and something that like it just stuck with me, man. Responded to a question about failure and his thoughts on it. And he talked about, as long as I'm working as hard as I can, failure to me is a little bit exciting because I know exactly what I got to do. Like, if I lose, I know exactly what I got to do to get better and win next time. So I think that's it. Same thing with elk hunting. Dude, if you're out there just grinding and doing the best you can with like the knowledge base you have at the time,
Yeah.
what else can you do, man? And then you think about the things that went wrong. Okay, you got 11 months to figure it out.
Yeah. You do have some time to dwell upon it. That's for sure. I mean, I don't want a repeat of what happened in 25.
Obviously.
24.
Yeah.
I bet I killed 4 bulls with a bow in 24, and I think I'd average about 5 or 6 days per hunt. I was just flowing, things were coming together, and it's completely opposite in 2025. It was complete like, you do not have this figured out, sir. And these elk will not do the same thing they did last year, sir. So for me, I'm like, I'm digging in on 25 is like, okay, I want to dissect this. I need to pull it under the microscope. Okay, did you have fun? And I took the fun out of it a little bit. I accidentally I shouldn't say this. The way this is going to sound is terrible. Like, I got too many tags, but like, I had one of those years where I drew what I didn't plan on drawing that tag. I didn't plan on drawing that tag.
Right,
And
dude. Yeah.
I thought I was going to be able to just buy this general tag. And I thought I was going to maybe have an Idaho elk tag and maybe my points burned in Colorado, which I was planning on getting rid of my Colorado points and just getting rid of it. But then I just freaking drew everything except for Wyoming all in a year. And I should have I figured out a way to turn some tags in or something, because I was spread too thin. I put so many miles on my truck, and I already put a lot of pressure on myself to perform well. And so I don't want to do that again. We talked about it at the beginning of the podcast, but like, there is a way to go through the draws and make sure that you don't have too many tags, which is like the first time that's ever happened in my elk hunting career. So it was a fluke year, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather focus in on one really good tag or good hunt and give it all I got. And that's cool. Or have 2, but to have that many was like, stressful. And there's guys who are like so mad hearing this because they're like, they couldn't even get an elk tag. And you just need to do more homework. You need to do more research. There is so much opportunity out there, despite what some people say. I still believe that we have abundance and it's not scarcity. And there's a lot of opportunity. And even if you're okay with like picking up a general tag where you can only shoot a cow or a spike, there's several states that you can get in on. And if you can't do any of that, you can always go with Weston and be his camp cheerleader and help him out and call, like, you know what I mean, like your
Yeah,
friends. And
of
um
course.
you shouldn't miss elk seasons if it's that important to you. There's ways to be involved.
And you are right, dude. And I am, for people listening, I am the most regular guy, regular job kind of guy. Like Dan, and I'm telling you, Dan is correct. There's still an abundance of opportunity to where when I do hear people complaining about it, I I I, I can't even comprehend it. Like the first year I started going, yeah, it was just I was all confused. Just give me over the counter Colorado and we'll call it good. Next year, you gotta just do your homework. Just listen to podcasts. Like I tell people, what do you listen to on the drive to work? Oh, country music station. Okay, well, you're going to put on, the Go Hunt podcast. You're going to put on like whatever. That just have it become part of your thing. And then next year, I didn't have it all figured out, but I was like, okay, I'm going to start building points here in Colorado. I'm going to start in Wyoming now. And then like every year it just keeps going to where now, and I don't want to sit here and say like, an old wise elk hunter with it all figured out, but I have a nice little portfolio as a regular guy, regular job. I'm thinking about next year right now. It's December, application season coming up. I mean, I also just moved to Idaho, so I'm beyond stoked to be a resident of a elk state. But I got like options to where I'm in a spot right now where I'm like, oh, I got I got options. I can, maybe I'll put that off, which when you start, you never think you're going to have more than just over the counter Colorado. Just want to throw that in there too. Dan is correct. Ton of opportunity. What you will seek, you will find. You know what I mean, dude? That's straight from the good word.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think it's confusing, and it was really confusing back in my day because there was no online applications. I would have to like fill out paper. Colorado would make you have separate envelopes for every species. They'd specify the color of ink, the pen you'd have to use, a separate check for each one. There was no systems out there to track your points. So it's a lot easier nowadays to to do this. There was no OnX, man. OnX has changed everything. Like I would literally, I don't know how to navigate with a GPS or a compass. That's what I had to do. There was no like a waypoint on an old Rhino from Garmin, which was a radio slash GPS. There was no topography lines, nothing. It's just
Yeah.
like this. Like, okay, I know my heading. If I head southeast, I'm gonna get back to the truck. You didn't know that you were gonna go up and down through a sea of downfall and finger ridges and get back to the truck at midnight. And if you just skirted that, you would have been back hours prior. Like, technology is cool and it's not going away. And I think everyone's getting inundated with AI is going to be involved with some of this stuff. And um, there's some things you can't, like I said at the beginning, like change is inevitable. So I can stay back angry or I can try to like adapt. And I think that's just where we're at right now is you have to adapt.
Absolutely. Just to go a little bit down, not to beat the horse of this year anymore, but
Mm-hmm.
this next question I had here too. And I'm not even talking about this year. I'm just talking about in general because obviously it's happened more than just this year. But dude, when you're on a tough hunt, when the hunt gets really hard, day 8, 9, 10, whatever, you are elk shaped out of your mind, and you're waking up the next day. Dude, what do you tell yourself when a hunt gets really hard? What's going through your mind?
It's been the same thing for years. And it came from just probably this happening to me. But I promise you, like every year, especially 2025, I'll get to a point where I'm like, there is no way I've ever killed an elk with a bow. This is literally impossible. Like there's just no way this has ever actually happened to me. I think I made it up in my own head. Like this is literally not possible to kill an elk with a bow. Conversely, on the other end of the spectrum, I also know that I can get an elk killed at any point in time in a hunt, at any time of the day, regardless of weather, hunting pressure, wildfire, smoke, whatever. In like literally 5 seconds, I can be walking down a trail, feeling sorry for myself, and a bull bugles, steps out, never knew I was there, hold still, broadside 40, smoke him, and I'll be like, I can go from zero to hero in 5 seconds because I'm out there. And I know that. And I want everyone who's never killed an elk to know that. And so, like, you can never count yourself out. It can literally change in a second, and all of a sudden you're a hero, and you never even thought it was possible, or you've done it many times like I have, and you still thought it was impossible. So I always tell myself all it takes is 2 seconds. You just got to stay out there. You guys just stay out there and stay productive, stay positive. That's what I've learned, and that's literally the gospel truth.
It's just so interesting how, fast it can happen. And then you go to this, man, I got this all figured out, to where there's some days, especially when you're hunting back there by yourself. I've done a few like long solo trips, longest days of ever, especially if you have no cell service. And it's just, I don't know, dude, it's a crazy thing. And it's crazy how fast a week can go. And then sometimes a day feels like a week. And it's just something, I don't know.
No, it's a true story. I like solo hunting the most. I do. It's really hard to make YouTube videos hunting solo. That's the only downfall for me. But like, I don't even like cameramen. Anyone who's ever filmed me is probably like got the hint that I'm not happy they're there. Just because I'm selfish, I really love and treasure all that time by myself, all that thought-provoking time when action's cooled off and you're on the side of a mountain and reflecting. And all the success or failure is just on your shoulders, no one else's. Like, it's truly a rewarding experience. And you get better at it as you do it longer and longer, to where you almost look forward to it. I love a solo elk hunt. I don't love a solo pack out, but I love a solo elk hunt. Especially in the backcountry where maybe I'm in Grizz country and it's just a little nerve. Like, I like being a little like uneasy, and it forces you to not rely on your own strength, quite honestly. And I like that. It's the most rewarding. And last year I did a ton of solo elk hunting, a ton. I was by myself in the desert from like August 30th till September 8th. And I was hunting like the worst style of elk hunting possible, where you hike in not that far mileage wise, but you gain like 2,000 or 3,000 feet in the dark. And then you're hunting desert bulls, and it's high country desert, and they're not bugling, and you're trying to read sign and figure out pinch points. And I'm bringing a saddle with me, and I'm saddle hunting for elk. And then I get back down to my truck at night. I maybe Starlink with my family, and that's it. I don't talk to anyone all day. And I just did that for it was like ridiculous, man. I got there on the 28th, and I stayed till like the 7th or 8th, I think. And I was literally just a hermit. I didn't engage or talk to a single person for that long. You're going to learn a little bit about yourself for sure.
You hunt in the saddle pretty much every day like that? I grew up hunting whitetails back east, so I know a little bit about the all-day sits. But I'm just a few days in the rut. I'll grind it out. But, oh, man, that's got to be tough.
And I was moving locations constantly, and I was hunting elk that depend on water in the high country, and it's few and far between. Like, there'll be like water sources that are 5 miles apart as the crow flies. And so I was covering, and a lot of the water sources were like local Idaho dudes like have their tree stand chained to the tree, and it's always there. And so you never know, should I sit their tree stand? Should I not? Well, I have a saddle system. Should I not? Should I saddle up next to them? What if they show up? And for me, especially, like, I don't, like me, Dan Elkshape, I don't want to see people or have them see me. And so, like, I would just avoid sitting the water. So I like reverse engineer. Okay, how are the elk getting to this water? Because a lot of elk will water at low light or even nocturnal. So then I was like, my odds go up not running anybody. I'm going to reverse engineer how these elk are getting to this water source, and I'm going to find a funnel, and I'm going to sit that sucker. And so I would do a lot of mornings, not saddle hunting, just covering country glassing. And in the evenings, you betcha, like I would always reverse engineer some water source, and I'd just be hunting some random pinch point in the middle of nowhere. And honestly, like, it worked out the year before pretty good. Like I passed on several elk that way. This year, it never worked out. That's hunting.
That is hunting. It's funny. I was just talking to a guy the other day, talking about hunting solo in the mountains, and rewind for me a little bit. So I go out and hunt elk for the first time, Colorado. Come back home, and this is all I care about. This is all I think about, and I just want to become better. And that's the one thing I think. I'm not saying I have it all figured out, but I think the one thing I got right early was I knew I wanted to become a better, just backcountry woodsman, and just like very effective with my gear. So I'm from Pennsylvania. We don't have all the public land like Idaho does, but in the summers, and I would use this like to scout for whitetails too. But I would go on a lot of backpacking trips, run all my same gear. And then I knew part of this too was like, I just wanted to get comfortable spending nights alone in a tent. And I feel like a lot of guys want to come out and hunt out west. And I just want to ask them, like, when was the last time you were camping, and not in an RV or whatever? I mean, that's, fun with your family, but like doing it how you're going to be doing it hunting, let alone solo. So I did that. I did a lot of weekend trips. I just became like an effective backpacker and got more comfortable by myself. But I'll never forget those first couple trips. Yeah, it is like, it's very quiet, a lot of thoughts. And I have the longest stint I did was, I think it was like 9 days. It was last year here in Idaho, 2024. I did a late season hunt by myself, and not a lot of, it's one thing too to have self-service, makes it, it's still not the most comfortable thing, but that is a different factor. But when you don't have self-service, nothing by yourself, especially when the hunting gets hard. Anyway, I was talking to my buddy about it, and I actually have that hunt on my YouTube channel, but weather rolled in, all these things. And he was like, how do you like it? And I'm like, I don't really love it, man. I think a couple of days I can always at least just stay focused on where I want to go, get to new areas, find animals. But I think there's a lot of people that watch that show alone, and they think like they see everybody go to at least like day 30 or 40. And they're like, yeah, I at least got like a week or two in me. And I'm just like, the hell you do, brother? So I don't know. And it's something I want to get better at. I didn't hunt much solo this year. It was just the weekend before I tagged on my Idaho buck. But it's different, man. It's different for sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely needs to be in people's repertoire. Like you need to have, like I have it as it's not my primary card I want to play, man. I love sleeping in my rooftop tent on my truck, and I like changing locations constantly and bouncing around. But I gotta tell you, like even this year, like it got down to where I had to play the backcountry card, and I don't like playing that card. And I was like, I made that decision late in the day, like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, all right, I know where I need to go, and it's hot as hell, and I'm gonna I'd rather the elk aren't moving or talking right now. I'm gonna do it. I don't want to burn precious daylight hunting hours. So I did my 6 miles with I don't know what was on my backpack, but it was heavy. There was all my gear, and I got in, did my 6 miles in 2 hours, which is an incredible pace. But I was super motivated to get back there to have an evening hunt. I don't want to miss an evening hunt. That would be sacrilegious. And I just dropped my spike camp at the first water source I found, and I dropped a pin. I was like, all right, I'll set up camp tonight. I need to be getting to that glassing spot like A-stat. So I got there, found some elk, and then I came back and set up in the dark. And that was a big push. And the next morning, I was disappointed I only saw 3 spikes. Like I was expecting to see like a bull with some cows. I'd hunted this spot before. So the next morning I was like, all right, we'll give it a morning. And I sound checked all 3 little basins where the elk are in. I'm just in a spot they always are. They're not there. And through the smoke, I could see what looked like to be 13 elk. And one of them had to be a bull. His just body was twice as big as the rest. He was at the back. Pretty open country, but it was a long ways away. And I saw where they went into the timber. And said, there, okay. So I had to pack all my camp up, do the 6 miles out, get to the UTV, drive around, and I almost killed that bull that night. So I did the 6 mile in, 6 mile out, which I hate doing. It's overcommitting. But the point of all that is like, you just got to play whatever card
Exactly
you got. And that's what I had to play. I played a backcountry card, which led me to some front country elk that I would have never seen. You know what I mean? So hold on a second. Hey guys, I'm on a podcast. You're going to have to be quiet. Welcome to Dad Life.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. But I hear you, man. Playing the card you're dealt. Before we wrap up here, something else I had noted down. So with all your experience hunting, all these things, chasing elk, if you had younger bow hunter elk Dan in front of you, what's one piece of advice you'd give him?
I don't even know how many elk I've missed like you did. I don't even have that number in my head. It's not a low number where I could be like, I missed an elk 3 times in my life. Younger Dan, put yourself in stressful situations and shoot your bow and re-gauge your true effective range. I wish I had like a Joel Turner or even a Josh Jones, mechanically speaking, to sit down with me in the beginning and be like, here's how you shoot it. Like, here's all the information about a bow. Here's how a bow works. And here's how to shoot it. That was not something that happened for me. And so I literally bought a bow from a bow shop. They're no longer in business. There was zero instruction. I don't even know if I had the right arrows. They were aluminum arrows. That's how old I am. Like big old fatties. And I just taught myself how to shoot with a Walmart target in my backyard. And because of that, I know I missed. I could get into elk. I could find them. I could get into them. I didn't really know what I was doing. But my Idaho learning curve was from 2002 to 2008, 6 years, almost 30 days every year. And so many bulls missed. And it would just eat me alive. And I'm not saying that I'm not susceptible to missing anymore or anything like that, but like that would be a rare occasion because one, I know a lot more now what an elk's going to do before he does it, which means I can get into a position to where I can take advantage of that scenario. Number two, I have a lot better idea when to draw, when not to draw, and I'm way more present in the moment. I don't like black out, throw some pins on and slap the trigger. Like that'll never happen again. Like I'm so like that is like stuff that I've had to work through, man. And I think if you're new to hunting, you don't really know what you don't know. So you didn't know that you are going to black out and you are going to just throw some pins on, some hide, and you are going to get rid of that arrow. And you're going to be like, did I even look through the peep? I don't recall ranging. I don't eat like, you know what I mean? Like
I'm rolling my eyes because
time will not slow
know.
down for you. Like time almost speeds up when you're a rookie. And then as you get more elk encounters under your belt, you're still excited, but like time slows down and you make the decisions in the right sequence when it all works out. So I would go back to Dan and say, man, you need to get it. I would say, hello, you're not going hunting until you hire an archery coach. You need and it could be an archery mental coach like Joel Turner, or it could be like just like a really cool pro shop owner with a mohawk named Josh Jones who just like sits down and gets you some fundamentals. Because I had to undo all the stuff I taught myself that was not right.
I love videos. Watch a bunch you did with him and his videos and stuff taught me a lot for sure. And when I really never forget, I hit a whitetail in the shoulder hunting my dad's property when I was probably, I don't know, maybe later teens or something like that. And just remember looking at my bow, looking at my set, and I never found the buck. But just like looking at everything, and then that's when I started consuming a lot of like content and stuff, and I'm just like, I need to go beyond. I hunt with a bow. I need to dive into becoming a better archer. I'm not saying I was shooting tournaments or anything. I mean, if guys want to do that, that's awesome. But just taking the time to actually understand tuning, understanding a setup. And I'm not saying I've set up my bow totally from scratch. Like I don't have a press, but just being comfortable when I know there's a problem, knowing at least a direction on how to fix it, fixing most problems, building my own arrows, knowing that I'm tuned, shooting that paper and having it look good has given me a ton of confidence out there. And would you feel the same way? Is that a recommendation you'd have for guys?
Yeah, man, I would say make friends with somebody at your local shop who is a target archer. These target archers are so much further down the rabbit hole. They've tested and vetted so many different things. They know all the things. And this is the first year I have like actually set up indoor target archery, like Vegas faces in my basement at 18 meters. And I would say at least 3 nights a week, I go down there. I do 2 practice warm up ins at 6 arrows. And then I shoot 30 arrows and I score it and I'm keeping track. And I am doing that because I want to be a better bow hunter. I don't ever have a desire to go compete at Vegas or Lancaster Classic or World Archer. Like none of that matters to me. But the fact is that these target archers are they're really good bow hunters too, but they can also cross over and shoot like FITA, 3D, IBO, ASA, indoor. Like these guys really know their stuff. And I would find somebody and be mentored and just grab your hunting bow and go to Winter League and just go get a score and start working on, like, it'll make you so much better. Like shooting at 20 yards at a Vegas face makes me step out here at the 3D range and I already can feel like, holy smokes, this is making me better at archery. And I want to get better, because if you're not getting better, you're not staying the same.
Right. I think too, something that I look at, I have a bad trait of thinking like, not that I have it all figured out, but like when I put myself in a situation to give myself evidence that, okay, I got this, I need to make sure like I'm still going back and doing things. And I'm talking about, for one thing, you mentioned it, shooting stressful situations. So in early September, I shot this velvet mule deer in the cliffs at 13,000 feet. And I was like, stressful archery shots in the zone, I got it. But flash forward a couple weeks later, I'm chasing elk, and I don't want to make excuses. When I came home, I noticed I had I just used a little brass ring as a kisser. I noticed that thing was very loose, and I think
It's not good.
yeah, because I shot way under the bull, and it was a far shot, but still, there's a million things I'm sure I could have did better. All these things, whatever. I still need to make sure that I can't. Something you always got to work on. You got to look at these things like a muscle that you just keep needing to flex. So I think that's really good advice too. Yeah,
It's awesome.
Dude, before I let you go, if you got another minute, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're a busy guy, but I got to talk to you a little bit about training. So I was always a hypertrophy guy at the gym. 5 sets of 5, 4 sets of 8, bench, squat, deadlift, some accessory movements. I love it. That's all I really want to do. I never wanted to do CrossFit, never wanted to do really anything else. Picked up running the last few years, really started to actually like that. But I know you're a big CrossFit guy, all the things like that. Would you ever say there's a certain way to train that's probably better than anything else? Or what's your advice there when people ask you the very broad question of best way to train for elk hunting?
Yeah. I don't know if there is a best way. What is elk hunting? We could at least look at it kind of like a nerd. Like, what zone do you think you're predominantly in, like heart rate zone, when you're elk hunting?
Yeah, probably zone 2 mostly. Hiking. Yeah.
So are we training like the event is in zone 2 marathon? You're walking around uneven ground with a backpack on for days on end, for super long days. So I'll say this. I got to be careful how I say things. I don't want people to take them. I don't want to take offense, but like when I go elk hunting anywhere, especially Idaho's really steep. People don't understand how steep Idaho is compared to, like, Colorado's higher, but Idaho is steeper.
Steeper and thicker.
Elk,
because when you're going steep and there's just a wall in front of your face, that's
yeah, it's built different. And I love Idaho. Idaho's my favorite. Like, just, it's always my hardest hunt. So for those who maybe saw my podcast where I like gave away my 5 top elk zones, and I stopped reading comments when they got bad, and they're
I
bad.
saw you posted
Like,
it, and I was like, I bet you get a lot of downloads and a lot of comments. I don't know. I didn't listen to it yet, but
oh man, it's nothing like earth shattering. AI could give you more information than that, like ChatGPT
okay.
could. But like the reason I wanted to talk about Idaho most importantly for that pod was to get people to enter the draw. Like I said in the beginning, I just want Idaho to make money. But Idaho is so much steeper, and Idaho is always my hardest elk hunt of the year. Always. Like, I think I would think I could do better faster in Montana, New Mexico, Utah. Maybe not Colorado. I don't have a lot of. I've only killed one elk in Colorado. But I'm just saying, like Idaho, for some reason, it's just got an abundance of elevation gain loss, and the locals are good. There's like really good local elk hunters everywhere you go, and so that's just a sidebar. So when I go elk hunting, it is literally I treat it as I train for it like it's an event, like it's my Super Bowl, and I like show up probably the best shape of the year right then and there. But I'll be honest, elk hunting's a break for me. Elk hunting is active rest compared to the shit I do year round. Like I'm just all I got. I don't have to touch a barbell. I don't have to move a sandbag. I got to throw a rucksack on and cover ground. Um, Elk hunting's a break. Now, elk, when you get one on the ground, that's not a break. That's a legit, like, stressful situation, especially how hot September is. Like, I'm just trying to get meat out a lot of times by myself. But if you have a training program where elk hunting is a active rest for you, I think you may be doing something right. If you have a training program that you never get out of Elkshape, so you don't have any yo-yo or like ramp up, ramp down, like you just kind of year round consistently, and then like you show up to elk season and you're enjoying it and you feel limitless and you're so fit that mountains have shrunk where you look way over there and you're like I can get over there, like that story I said in this pod where like I literally glassed up elk 6 miles away, went 6 miles back to the UTV, drove around, and then I hiked in and almost killed that bull. Like that's limitless elk hunting. Like that the mountains were shrunk. That some guys would have been like, "Oh, cool, we can go after those elk tomorrow. We need a full day." Like so I think of fitness, whatever that means to you, to shrink mountains, to make elk hunting feel like active rest, except for pack outs. That's a good program. So whatever that looks like for you, like ultra running. There's a very prominent, well-known guy who's he is a world-class runner, and he's a world-class bow hunter, and that's what works for him is ultra marathons, trails, and then kind of some hypertrophy stuff, quite honestly, in the gym. Like definitely not like cross training, not hybrid training, just no circuit training, just kind of aesthetics or whatever, but a tremendous amount of miles and elevation gain, and everything starts. That's what works for him. You guys should know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I know.
And what works for you should work for you, and it may not work for me. But whatever you do, make sure that elk hunting is not something that you feel like you're underprepared when you get there.
And I think Cam has a clip somewhere of him saying like, he never wanted, the elk hunt to be like the hardest thing like physically he's ever done. So it's like if
There
you
you
just
go.
kind of maintain that hard training, whatever that looks like throughout the year, and that's kind of your mindset, I think that's some great advice, Dan. I feel like that was a good way for people to frame it. So it's like, okay, just get out there and, and if you're listening to this, start. If you need to start something. Yeah, that was really good. And dude, I give you credit with a lot of. So I just joined this CrossFit gym when I moved here. It's also been cool just meeting people through that too. Like CrossFit's just a good community I found. Never done a lot of those movements, and like, they put up the the workout and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I can throw some weight on and do this snatch or whatever, dude. That nope, that shit is hard. I was like, wait, can I borrow that PVC pipe and just practice for a little bit? So it's I've loved it, but dude, it's an ass kicker for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I own a CrossFit gym specifically for I think almost 11 years. And looking back, like if I had elk hunters in there, I really don't care if they ever snatch again. I do like PVC pipes and overhead squats and mobility, but man, a snatch is not like the most important thing you do as an elk hunter,
No,
obviously.
and I'm not saying
But
that. No.
but it is definitely cool to work on things that are a high skill movement, require a lot of motor recruitment, coordination, accuracy, and that power output that a snatch is. And it will translate to other things, but like you got to enjoy the training process to some degree. To some degree, but I do like CrossFit. I hope you're getting good coaching. I hope you're scaling. I hope you're checking your ego, and I hope you're running your decisions through your elk filter so you don't get hurt. Um, I still dabble in some CrossFit training, mainly for the conditioning side of things. Some days I'm doing hypertrophy or bodybuilding or density phases or
Okay.
circuit training or high rocks. It's just I train a lot less volume than I used to when I was competing at CrossFit. So I may be in a gym and out of a gym in 35 minutes, the gym being the one right behind this wall. And I almost train 6 to 7 days a week now because I'm not so beat up. Today is the first day I've had off since last Saturday. So today's Friday. So I've almost trained a full week without taking a day off. Today I'm taking it off. My body's like, yo, what's up, Dan? Like, let's be active rest today. So I got a lot of steps in, but I like to train to where I move the needle and I'm breaking a sweat. It's good for my mental. I'm doing hard things. I'm training with trustworthy peers often. Yesterday, I had 2 guys I met on the internet come train with me. Complete
Awesome.
strangers. That's one of my goals, like I said, in 26 is to build more community, to be inclusive, and just to inspire people to aspire to be the best that they can be. That's it.
Love it, dude. All right. That's Dan Staton, Elkshape. Dude, I really appreciate you hopping on. That was a great chat. Really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. If you just want to plug like all your stuff, obviously, where people find you, the Elkshape training, anything cool and exciting you got coming up, anything you want to share, feel free.
So when's this coming out?
This might drop in 2 weeks. So right.
Okay. So first of the year, 2026. If you follow Elkshape Training on Instagram, it's not going to say Elkshape Training anymore. It's going to say something else, and it is something that I am almost as passionate about as elk hunting.
Whoa.
Little teaser.
Wow.
So keep your eyes peeled.
Okay. We'll be on the lookout for sure.
Yes, sir.
All right, dude. Again, thanks so much. We'll wrap it up. Really appreciate your time.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for listening.
All right. Thanks, Dan. See ya. Everybody, thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. Hey, if you like that episode, please share it with a friend, share it on your story, and give the podcast a rating and a review on wherever you listen. For more of this type of content, you can head over to the YouTube channel and follow along on all the social platforms. Really appreciate it. See you on the mountain.